There comes a point when a woman realizes too late what she truly had, and it doesn't come in the moment of argument or even the breakup itself. It comes in the quiet, in the late hours when the silence feels louder than his voice once did. At first, she believes she's free, that walking away was a step towards something new, something thrilling. But what she doesn't understand in that moment is that a good man's presence isn't something that can be easily replaced or forgotten. He doesn't need to make noise to be valuable. His calm, his steadiness, his consistency, these are the things that hold her world together without her ever noticing. When she loses him, she begins to notice the small things she used to overlook, how he never judged her when she broke down, how he listened without interruption, how he always found the right words without trying too hard. She remembers the mornings when he'd check on her, the nights he'd make sure she felt safe, and the subtle ways he made her feel understood, even when she didn't have the strength to explain herself. But when that kind of energy leaves her life, it doesn't just disappear, it leaves a void, a quiet emptiness that no new person seems to fill. At first, she tries to distract herself. Maybe she goes out, meets new people, posts pictures that scream confidence. But deep inside, she begins to feel something she can't shake, a discomfort that comes from knowing she let go of something real. Because deep down, she knows that the way he treated her wasn't normal in today's world. It was rare. His patience wasn't weakness, it was emotional control. His silence wasn't distance, it was understanding. But she couldn't see it then. She thought that because he didn't argue, he didn't care. She thought that his calm meant detachment, and so she chased excitement, not realizing she was walking away from peace. Time, though, is the greatest teacher. The longer he's gone, the clearer the truth becomes. Every conversation with someone new feels shallow, every connection feels forced because no one else carries the same depth that he did. It's then that she starts to feel the true pain, not of losing him, but of realizing she didn't appreciate him while he was there. That's the part that breaks her. The moment she recognizes the difference between someone who wanted her attention and someone who genuinely cared about her soul. A good man doesn't beg to be valued. He simply withdraws when he's taken for granted, and it's only then, in his absence, that she begins to see his true worth. The memories start to hit harder, the silence becomes unbearable, and the truth she once avoided becomes her reality. She realizes that she didn't lose him, she pushed him away, and now all she can do is live with the echo of what she once had but never truly saw. In the end, what breaks her isn't his absence, it's the painful awareness that she had something extraordinary and thought it was ordinary. When a woman loses a good man, what truly begins to break her isn't the loss itself, but the slow realization that she was loved in a way that was pure, patient, and deeply rare. In the beginning, she tells herself she's fine. She convinces herself that she made the right choice, that she can do better, that she doesn't need anyone. It's a coping mechanism, a shield her ego builds to keep her from feeling the full weight of what she's lost. But deep down, the heart always knows when it's made a mistake. And as time passes, that quiet awareness begins to grow louder. She starts to notice the absence of something she once took for granted, emotional safety. A good man provides a kind of peace that doesn't come with conditions. He listens, not because he's waiting for his turn to speak, but because he genuinely cares. He doesn't compete for control, he guides with calm strength. And when that presence is gone, it's not chaos that immediately follows, it's emptiness. And an emptiness she can't fill with random conversations or temporary validation. The thrill she once chased now feels hollow compared to the stability she used to have. At first, she tries to move on quickly, believing that new attention will numb the loss, but it doesn't, because attention is not the same as affection, and affection is not the same as love. She begins to realize that he didn't love her because he wanted something from her, because he saw her for who she really was, even in her most unlovable moments. And the more she remembers that, the more her heart starts to ache. A good man's love is subtle but unforgettable. He doesn't make grand gestures every day. Instead, his consistency speaks louder than any declaration ever could. The small acts, the way he checked on her after a bad day, the way he remembered the little things she said, the way he protected her energy, these memories begin to surface one by one. They remind her of how safe she once felt, how calm her life used to be when he was in it, and that's when regret begins to sink in. She may not admit it out loud, but her heart knows that no one else has matched the level of depth he brought. Every man who comes after him is unconsciously compared to him. His honesty, his emotional maturity, his calmness under pressure, and slowly she realizes that she didn't just lose a man, she lost a mirror that reflected her best self. With him, she felt valued and grounded. Without him, she feels uncertain and restless. What truly breaks her isn't the fact that he's gone, but the truth that he's not coming back. Because when a good man walks away, he doesn't do it out of anger. He does it out of acceptance, and that kind of silence, that calm finality, echoes louder than any argument. It's the sound of a chapter closing forever. In the end, she learns one of life's hardest lessons, that not everyone you lose is replaceable. Some losses teach you the true meaning of love, but only after it's too late to go back. What truly begins to break a woman after losing a good man is not just the emptiness of his absence, but the quiet reflection that forces her to face herself. It's the moment she realizes that his calm presence used to balance her chaos, that his patience used to soften her sharp edges, and that his guidance used to give her direction, even when she didn't ask for it. A good man doesn't just love with words, he teaches without trying to. And when he's gone, his lessons linger not as comfort, but as reminders of what she took for granted. At first, she might feel free, free from expectations, free from commitment, free from having to explain her moods or her choices. But with time, she begins to notice that freedom without peace feels like a prison. She used to feel safe expressing her emotions with him, knowing that he would listen without judgment. Now, when she opens up to others, she's met with indifference, impatience, or shallow responses. That's when she starts to understand that emotional security is not something easily found, it's something built, and he had built it brick by brick through his loyalty, consistency, and understanding. When a good man leaves, he doesn't just take himself with him, he takes the energy he brought into her life, the way he made her feel seen, even in her silence, the way his presence made her believe that didn't have to be loud to be strong. And when she loses that, it's like losing the steady rhythm her heart had learned to move with. The world feels noisier, people feel colder, and relationships start to feel like temporary distractions instead of deep connections. She begins to see the difference between a man who wants her and a man who values her. The good man valued her. He respected her dreams, her emotions, her flaws. He didn't try to control her, he encouraged her to grow. And now, surrounded by people who only care about the surface, she realizes how rare it was to be understood on that level. It's not just about love anymore, it's about connection. Because while anyone can say, I love you, not everyone can make you feel safe, understood, and cherished at the same time. The pain doesn't come all at once. It grows slowly with each moment of comparison, each fleeting memory, each person who fails to measure up. She starts to remember the times she pushed him away, thinking he'd always come back because he always did. But one day, he didn't. And that's when she learns the hardest truth. Even the kindest hearts eventually get tired of being taken for granted. What breaks her most is the realization that he didn't stop loving her. He simply chose himself. He chose peace over chaos, self respect over begging to be seen. And that kind of strength leaves a mark because deep down, she knows that no matter how much time passes, she will never again be loved in that calm, unwavering, and selfless way. Some men leave and life moves on, but when a good man walks away, part of her never fully recovers. What truly starts to haunt a woman after losing a good man isn't the silence he leaves behind. It's the realization that she's now surrounded by people who only see her surface, not her soul. A good man connects on a level that goes beyond attraction or habit. He sees the truth in her eyes, even when her words try to hide it. When he's gone, she begins to see how shallow the world can be, how difficult it is to find someone who listens without interrupting, who understands without needing to be told. She starts to understand that real connection is not something found often. It's built through trust, patience, and quiet consistency. At first, she might think she can replace him. Maybe she'll go out, talk to new people, entertain new company, but nothing feels the same. Conversations feel forced, gestures feel empty, and laughter feels hollow. Because deep down, she knows what genuine connection felt like, the kind where words weren't always needed, where you could sense her moods, where his presence was enough to calm the storm inside her. That's something she didn't appreciate fully when she had it, and now the contrast between real and temporary becomes painfully clear. A good man brings peace that doesn't demand attention. He doesn't play games, doesn't make her chase validation. He gives her emotional safety, something rare in today's world. And when she loses that, she begins to realize how valuable it was. The world may tell her that she's strong and independent, and she is, but even strength longs for understanding. Even independence craves connection. What breaks her isn't that he left, it's that no one else makes her feel that same quiet safety again. Over time, she begins to reflect on how he used to handle her emotions with grace, how he didn't withdraw when she was difficult, how he didn't punish her silence with his own. Instead, he stayed calm, patient, grounded, like a mirror showing her the balance she couldn't yet find in herself. And now, surrounded by people who react instead of respond, who take offense instead of understanding, she realizes that his calm wasn't weakness, it was strength, the kind of strength that only comes from self mastery, from a man who knows who he is and doesn't need chaos to feel alive. That realization begins to sting, not because she misses him, but because she now understands what she had. She remembers how his consistency once bored her, how she mistook peace for lack of passion, and now she sees that peace was the very thing her heart needed most. The men who come after him might be exciting, mysterious, even charming, but none of them bring that quiet depth that made her feel grounded. And so, what truly breaks her isn't the loss of love, it's the loss of the version of herself she was when she was with him, the version that felt understood, valued, and seen, because deep down she knows that when a good man loves you with that kind of purity, it changes you. And when he's gone, it changes you again, but this time with the weight of regret. When a woman loses a good man, what breaks her most isn't just his absence, it's the way life begins to expose the consequences of her own choices. At first, she might feel free, convinced she's doing what's best for her, thinking that letting go or pushing him away will somehow bring her peace or excitement. But over time, the illusion fades, the world she steps back into, the world of shallow attention, unpredictable affection, and emotional games begins to wear her down. She realizes that while many men may desire her, very few will actually value her. And the one who did, the man who loved her with quiet loyalty and consistent care, is no longer there to catch her when she falls. A good man's love doesn't vanish from her memory easily. It lingers in the small things, the way he used to check on her without being asked, the calm tone he used when she was angry, the silent support he offered when she didn't have the words to explain how she felt. Those moments, once overlooked, now echo in her mind like a song she can't forget. And what breaks her isn't just the loss of those gestures, but the awareness that she may never experience them again, not because there aren't good men out there, but because genuine love requires vulnerability, and she now struggles to open up the same way she once did. As days turn into weeks and weeks into months, she starts noticing something deeper. The people around her don't bring her peace, they drain her. The excitement she thought she wanted begins to feel empty. The freedom she once celebrated starts to feel lonely. Because the truth is, when you've had someone who cared without condition, who was patient when you were stubborn, and who stayed when you pushed away, no amount of temporary attention can replace that sense of emotional safety. That's when the weight of regret begins to settle in, quiet but heavy. The more she grows, the more she understands that he didn't just love her, he added value to her life. His presence made her better, calmer, more stable. But back then, she might have mistaken his steadiness for simplicity, his kindness for weakness, his silence for lack of emotion. Now she sees that all those traits were the signs of a man who mastered himself, someone who didn't need to prove his worth because his actions spoke louder than words. And that realization hits harder than any argument or breakup ever could. What ultimately breaks her is when she realizes that he was never trying to control her, change her, or win her. He was simply trying to love her in a world that confuses love with possession. His strength wasn't in chasing her, but in walking away when he knew she no longer saw his worth. And the silence that follows his departure becomes the loudest lesson she'll ever learn, that losing a good man doesn't just change her life, it reshapes her understanding of love forever. And finally, what breaks a woman most after losing a good man is the bitter, quiet understanding of the opportunities she let slip through her fingers. At first, she might try to rationalize her decisions, telling herself that she wasn't ready, that she needed freedom, or that she wanted to explore life without boundaries. She might convince herself that love was too restrictive, or that his calm reliability was boring compared to the chaos and excitement she imagined elsewhere. But time has a way of stripping away illusions. The more she experiences the ups and downs of fleeting relationships, shallow attention, and empty promises, the more she begins to see that what she lost wasn't just a partner, it was a rare kind of love, one that required patience, loyalty, and genuine care.